I died on my 35th birthday. Not from cake, not from candles, but from the text message that lit up my phone while I stood on the bridge where I'd gone to clear my head. The message was from my sister's husband, meant for someone else, sent to me by mistake. Can't believe she still doesn't know the twins are biologically hers. Emma's too stupid to ever figure it out. I read it 3 times. 4. My hands shook so badly the phone slipped through my fingers, bounced once on the concrete, and skittered toward the edge. I lunged for it. My foot caught on the uneven pavement. The fall was longer than I expected. The impact was exactly as brutal as I feared. And when I opened my eyes again, I was 29 years old, standing in my old apartment, staring at a calendar that read 6 years earlier. The first thing I did was vomit. The second thing I did was laugh until I cried. The third thing I did was start planning. Because now I knew everything. I knew what my sister Emma had done. I knew how she'd done it. And I knew exactly how to make her pay. Let me take you back to the first time around. I was 30 when Emma asked me to be her egg donor. We were at Mom's house for Sunday dinner, and she'd cornered me in the kitchen while I did dishes. "Please, Claire," she'd begged, her hands clasped together like a prayer. "The doctors say I can't carry a pregnancy. Something about my uterine lining. But my eggs are viable, they just need a surrogate, and I can't afford one. You're my sister. You're the only one I can ask." I'd hugged her, soap suds still dripping from my hands. "Of course. Anything for you." She'd smiled. "You're the best sister anyone could ask for." 3 months later, I was in the fertility clinic signing paperwork I barely read, trusting Emma to guide me through the process. She held my hand during the egg retrieval. She bought me ice cream afterward. She called every day during my recovery. "Thank you," she kept saying. "Thank you for giving me this chance at motherhood." What I didn't know, what I couldn't have known without the benefit of hindsight and a second life, was that Emma had never had any uterine problems. Her eggs were perfectly fine too. She just wanted mine. Why? Because I was the pretty sister, the one with the good hair, the clear skin, the metabolism that kept me slim without trying. Emma had always been heavier, had always struggled with acne, had always existed in my shadow, even though I never wanted her to. But she could have beautiful children. She could have my children, and no one would ever know. She'd gone to a different clinic than the one I'd visited, used my harvested eggs with her husband Derek's sperm, carried the pregnancy herself, and when the twins were born, Lily and Lucas, beautiful and perfect, everyone cooed over how much they looked like Derek. No one mentioned that they had my nose, my eyes, my smile. I'd held them at the hospital, my heart swelling with love for my niece and nephew, never knowing I was holding my own children. In my first life, I'd figured it out eventually. The resemblance became too strong to ignore as they grew. I'd confronted Emma when the twins were 4. She'd laughed in my face. "Prove it," she'd said. "You signed away all rights to the eggs. You were just a donor. Those are my children." I'd tried anyway, hired a lawyer with money I didn't have. The case was dismissed before it even began. The paperwork I'd signed was ironclad. Emma's name was on the birth certificates. I had no legal standing. The stress, the heartbreak, the financial ruin, it all compounded. I spiraled. Depression became my constant companion. I lost my job, lost my apartment. Ended up on that bridge on my 35th birthday, and then came that text message, and then came the fall. But now I was back. Now I had a chance to do things differently, and I was going to burn Emma's world to the ground. The first change I made was simple. I didn't answer Emma's call when she asked me to meet for coffee that weekend. The weekend where, in the original timeline, she'd floated the idea of egg donation over lattes and croissants. Instead, I went to see a lawyer. His name was Richard Chen, and in my previous life, I'd seen his billboards all over the city. Family law expert. We fight for your rights. I'd never been able to afford him, but now, with my younger self's intact savings and a corporate job I hadn't yet lost, I could afford the consultation. "I need advice," I told him, sitting across from his massive oak desk. "My sister is going to ask me to donate eggs. I want to know what my rights would be if I agreed." Richard steepled his fingers. He was younger than I expected, maybe late 30s, with sharp eyes behind thin-framed glasses. "Egg donation is heavily regulated. If you go through a legitimate clinic, you'd sign documents terminating all parental rights." The recipient would be the legal parent, not you. What if someone used my eggs without consent? His eyebrows rose. That would be a criminal matter. Theft of genetic material. Also grounds for a civil lawsuit. And if I could prove that children were born from my eggs without my knowledge? Then you'd have grounds for a custody case, potentially. Though it would depend on the specifics. Why do you ask? I smiled, just trying to understand all the angles. I left his office with a business card tucked in my purse and a plan forming in my mind. Emma called again on Tuesday. I let it go to voicemail. She called on Wednesday, Thursday. By Friday, she showed up at my apartment. Claire, what's going on? She stood in my doorway, concern painted across her face. You're avoiding me. Just busy with work, I said, keeping my voice light. Sorry, Em. What's up? She shifted her weight from foot to foot. Can I come in? I hesitated just long enough to make her nervous, then stepped aside. We sat on my couch, the same couch where in another life she'd cried on my shoulder about her infertility. I waited, let the silence stretch. I need to talk to you about something, she finally said. It's kind of a big ask. Okay. Derek and I have been trying to have a baby. We've been to doctors and... She paused, manufactured a tear. I'd seen this performance before. It was flawless. They say I can't carry a pregnancy, my uterine lining is too thin, but my eggs are viable. Lie. I'm so sorry, Emma. We've looked into surrogates, but they're so expensive, like $40,000 expensive. We don't have that kind of money. She reached for my hand. I know this is crazy, but I was wondering, would you consider being our surrogate? I blinked. Me? You're my sister. You're healthy. And I trust you more than anyone in the world. Her eyes were wet, pleading. I wouldn't ask if I had any other option. Here was the pivot point. The place where, in my first life, I'd said yes and doomed myself. I'd have to carry your baby for 9 months? I asked slowly. I know it's a huge sacrifice. And it would be your egg and Derek's sperm? Yes, you'd just be the oven, basically. I hate to put it that way, but biologically the baby would be ours, not yours. I pretended to consider. I need time to think about it. Disappointment flashed across her face, quickly masked. Of course, take all the time you need. It's a big decision. After she left, I sat in the dark and let myself feel the rage I'd been suppressing. She was so convincing, so earnest. If I didn't know the truth, I'd believe every word. But I did know the truth. And this time, I was going to let her hang herself with her own rope. I called Emma back 3 days later. I'll do it, I said. I'll be your surrogate. Her squeal of delight made my stomach turn. Oh my God, Claire. Really? You're serious? On one condition. Anything. I want everything documented. Medical records, legal contracts, the whole thing. I want to make sure we're both protected. Of course, absolutely. I'll set up an appointment with the clinic right away. Actually, I said carefully, I'd like to choose the clinic. I have a friend who works in fertility medicine. She can get us a discount. A pause. Oh, well, I already have a clinic in mind. They're supposed to be the best. I'm sure they are, but my friend really came through for me when I needed her. I'd like to give her the business. I kept my tone friendly, sisterly. Unless that's a problem? No, no problem at all. Whatever makes you comfortable. I smiled into the phone. Great. I'll set up the initial consultation for both of us. The clinic I chose was reputable, thorough, and most importantly, had no connection to whatever shady operation Emma had used in my first life. Every step would be documented, every procedure would be witnessed, and I wasn't going to donate a single egg. The consultation was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Emma met me in the waiting room, practically vibrating with excitement. "I can't believe this is really happening," she whispered as we checked in. "Me neither." Dr. Patel was a soft-spoken woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She sat us down in her office and went through the surrogacy process step by step. "First, we'll do a full medical workup on both of you," she explained. "Emma will need to harvest your eggs and ensure they're viable. Claire will need to prepare your uterus for implantation and make sure you're healthy enough to carry a pregnancy." Emma nodded eagerly. "Now, have you both consulted with a lawyer? Surrogacy contracts are legally complex, and I always recommend—" "We're sisters," Emma interrupted. "We trust each other. We don't need lawyers involved." Dr. Patel's expression didn't change, but I caught the slight tightening around her eyes. "I understand the desire to keep things simple, but I cannot in good conscience proceed without proper legal documentation. This protects both of you." "I agree," I said. "I actually already spoke with a lawyer, Richard Chen. I'd like him to draw up the contracts." Emma's smile faltered. "That seems like overkill." "It's standard practice," Dr. Patel said firmly. "In fact, I require it. I've seen too many cases go wrong when families assume trust is enough." "Fine," Emma said, but her jaw was tight. "If that's what we have to do." We scheduled the medical workups for the following week. As we left the clinic, Emma was quieter than usual. "You really think we need lawyers?" she asked as we walked to our cars. "Dr. Patel seems to think so, and honestly, Em, I want to make sure everything is done right for both of us." I squeezed her arm. This is a big deal. Let's do it properly." She forced a smile. "You're right. Of course you're right." But I could see the wheels turning behind her eyes. This wasn't how she'd planned it. In the original timeline, she'd taken me to some low-rent clinic with lax protocols where paperwork was vague and oversight was minimal, where she could substitute her own eggs for mine and no one would notice until it was too late. This time, there would be witnesses, documentation, legal oversight. This time, she couldn't steal from me. So I waited to see what she would do. The answer came 4 days later via text message. "Claire, I've been thinking. Maybe surrogacy is too risky for you. What if there are complications? What if it affects your future fertility?" I couldn't live with myself if something went wrong. I stared at the message, unsurprised. She was backing out because she couldn't execute her plan with proper oversight. "Are you sure?" I texted back. "I'm willing to take the risk. I know, and I love you for it. But Derek and I talked, and we think we should save up for a professional surrogate instead. Someone who does this for a living and knows the risks, if that's what you want. Thank you for being willing, though. It means everything." I set down my phone and smiled. Round one to me. But Emma wasn't done yet. I knew her too well. She wanted my genetics for her children, and she wasn't going to give up just because one avenue had closed. She'd find another way, and I'd be ready. 3 weeks passed. Emma was distant, always busy when I called, always with an excuse for why she couldn't meet for dinner. I let her have space, biding my time. Then, on a Saturday morning, she showed up at my apartment unannounced. "I need a favor," she said, brushing past me into the living room. "Good morning to you, too." She turned, and I was struck by how haggard she looked. Dark circles under her eyes, hair unwashed, clothes rumpled. "Sorry, I'm stressed." "What's going on?" "Derek and I are still trying to have a baby. We've been doing IVF with my eggs and his sperm, but it's not working. 3 rounds, all failures." She sank onto my couch. "The doctor thinks maybe my eggs aren't as viable as they thought." Interesting. A different approach than last time, but still headed toward the same destination. "I'm sorry, Emma, that must be devastating." "It is. And now the doctor is suggesting we use donor eggs. But donor eggs are so expensive, and the waiting lists are forever, and She looked up at me with those wet, pleading eyes. I was wondering if you'd reconsider donating eggs. Not as a surrogate, just eggs. I'd carry the baby myself. There it was. I thought you had problems with your uterine lining. She blinked. What? A few weeks ago, you said you couldn't carry a pregnancy. Now you're saying you can? Oh, right. She waved a hand to dismissively. That was a misdiagnosis. Different doctor said my uterus is fine. It's my eggs that are the problem. I let the silence stretch, watching her squirm. I'd have to think about it, I finally said. Of course, I know it's a big ask, but Claire, you're my last hope. I've tried everything, every treatment, every medication. This is it. If this doesn't work, Derek and I will never have children. Let me talk to Richard Chen. Get his advice on what egg donation would entail legally. Her face darkened. Why do you need to involve lawyers in everything? Because I want to understand my rights and obligations. Is that a problem? No, I thought you trusted me. I do trust you, but this is serious, Emma. Creating a human being is serious. I want to make sure I'm making an informed decision. She stood abruptly. Fine, talk to your lawyer. Let me know what you decide. She left without saying goodbye. I met with Richard Chen the next day. My sister wants me to donate eggs so she can have a baby via IVF, I told him. She'd carry the pregnancy herself. Standard egg donation? You'd sign paperwork relinquishing all parental rights. The children would legally be hers. What if I wanted to retain some rights? Visitation or but? Then it's not egg donation. It's more like a co-parenting arrangement, which is much more complex legally. He leaned back in his chair. Why would you want to retain rights to children you're not going to raise? Just exploring all options? Ms. Morrison, I have to ask, is there something about this situation that concerns you? You've been asking very specific questions about egg theft and parental rights. I met his gaze steadily. My sister and I have a complicated relationship. Then my professional advice is don't do it. Family and reproductive technology rarely mix well. Too much room for hurt feelings and legal complications down the line. What if I did it anyway? Then make sure everything is documented through a reputable clinic. Make sure the paperwork explicitly states that the eggs are being used for her pregnancy only. Make sure you get copies of everything. And for God's sake, make sure you trust her completely. And if I don't trust her completely? He studied me for a long moment. Then you already know your answer. I called Emma that night. I'll donate the eggs, I said. Her relief was palpable. Thank you. Thank you so much, Claire. You don't know what this means to me. But we're doing it my way. Dr. Patel's clinic. Full documentation. Legal contracts. Whatever you want. I just want a baby, Claire. That's all I've ever wanted. Liar. What she wanted was a baby that looked like me, raised as hers with me, never knowing the truth. But this time, there would be no truth to hide, because I wasn't going to give her my eggs. The plan was simple in concept, complex in execution. I went to Dr. Patel's clinic for the egg retrieval procedure. Emma came with me, holding my hand, playing the supportive sister. The nurses praised our bond. Dr. Patel smiled warmly at both of us. What no one knew was that I'd visited Dr. Patel privately 2 days earlier. I need to ask you something unorthodox, I'd told her. She'd raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. Is there any way to go through with an egg retrieval procedure but not actually retrieve viable eggs? That would be medical fraud. Even if it's my own body, my own eggs? She'd sat back, fingers steepled. Why would you want to do that? I'd considered how much to tell her, decided on a version of the truth. I don't trust my sister. I think if I give her access to my genetic material, she'll use it in ways I don't consent to, but if I refuse outright, it'll destroy our family. So, you want to go through the motions without actually donating? Yes. Dr. Patel had been quiet for a long moment. I could say the retrieval was unsuccessful. that your eggs weren't viable for fertilization. It happens sometimes, especially with stress. Would that work? It would require your sister to either give up or use donor eggs from someone else, which I'm ethically fine with, because if you don't trust her, you shouldn't be donating genetic material to her. She'd leaned forward. But Ms. Morrison, if your sister is the kind of person you can't trust with something this important, maybe you need to reconsider your relationship with her entirely. I'm working on that. So when I went under anesthesia for the egg retrieval, Dr. Patel did retrieve eggs, but they were immediately marked as non-viable and disposed of. Emma waited in the recovery room, none the wiser. "How did it go?" she asked eagerly when I woke up. Dr. Patel delivered the news with practiced sympathy. "I'm sorry, Emma. We were able to retrieve eggs from Claire, but none of them were mature enough for fertilization. This happens sometimes. Stress, hormones, simple bad luck." Emma's face crumpled. "None of them?" "I'm afraid not, but this doesn't mean Claire couldn't donate in the future. Sometimes a different protocol." "No," I said weakly from the bed. "I can't go through this again. It's too much." Emma's hand tightened on mine. "But Claire—" "I'm sorry, Em. I tried, but I can't." Dr. Patel nodded approvingly. "It's important to listen to your body and your limits. Emma, there are many excellent egg donors available through our program. I'd be happy to discuss other options." We left the clinic an hour later, Emma silent and brooding. "I can't believe this," she muttered as we walked to our cars. After everything, none of your eggs were viable?" "I'm sorry I couldn't help you." She looked at me, and for just a moment, I saw something ugly flash across her face. Anger. Resentment. The same look she'd had in my first life when I'd confronted her about stealing my children. Then it was gone, replaced by a sad smile. "It's not your fault. These things happen." But I knew Emma, and I knew that look. She wasn't giving up. 2 months later, I got a call from an unknown number. "Ms. Morrison, this is Cedar Hills Fertility Clinic. We have some irregularities with your patient file that we need to discuss." My blood ran cold. I've never been to Cedar Hills Fertility Clinic. "Our records show you came in 6 weeks ago for an egg retrieval procedure." "That's impossible. I haven't had any procedures in the last 6 weeks." A pause. "Can you come in to discuss this in person? Today, if possible?" I was there within the hour. The clinic administrator, a nervous man named Tom, showed me paperwork with my signature. Consent forms for egg retrieval and donation, medical history forms, insurance information, all forged. "This isn't my signature," I said, my heart pounding. "Someone stole my identity." Tom's face went pale. "Oh God, we need to contact the authorities immediately." "Wait, these consent forms, who was listed as the recipient of the eggs?" He checked the file. "Emma Morrison, listed as your sister." There it was. "I want copies of everything," I said. "Every document. Every piece of paperwork with my name on it." "Ms. Morrison, if what you're saying is true, we're looking at medical fraud, identity theft. I know exactly what we're looking at, and I want evidence of all of it." I took the documents straight to Richard Chen. He read through them, his expression growing darker with each page. "This is one of the most egregious cases of medical fraud I've ever seen," he said. "Your sister forged your signature, impersonated you at a fertility clinic, and stole your genetic material." "Can we prove it was her?" "The clinic has security footage, and the eggs are already implanted. According to this, she's 8 weeks pregnant with twins." Twins, just like in my first life. "I want custody," I said. "Those are my children, created without my consent. I want them." Richard set down the papers. "This is going to be complicated. Legally, she's the mother. She carried them, she'll give birth to them. The fact that they're genetically yours is mitigated by the fact that you had no knowledge or consent. But she stole from me. She committed fraud. Yes. And we can pursue criminal charges, absolutely. But criminal charges don't automatically grant you custody. Family court is separate from criminal court. Then what do I do? He thought for a moment. We build a case. We document everything. We wait for the babies to be born, and then we file for custody on the grounds that you're the biological mother and that the children were created through criminal means. It's unprecedented, but so is this situation. And our chances? If we can prove she deliberately stole your eggs, if we can show a pattern of deception and fraud, maybe 50-50, maybe better if we get the right judge. I took a deep breath. Let's do it. I didn't confront Emma immediately. Instead, I let her think she'd gotten away with it. She announced her pregnancy on Facebook 2 weeks later with a glowing photo of her and Derek holding a sonogram picture. We're thrilled to announce we're expecting twins. After a long journey with fertility treatments, our dreams are finally coming true. Baby A and baby B arriving in May. #blessed, #twins, #miracle babies. The comments poured in. Congratulations, so happy for you. You'll be amazing parents. I liked the post. Left a comment. So excited to be an aunt. Love you, sis. Emma called me that night. Thank you for the sweet comment. Of course, I'm happy for you. I know the egg donation didn't work out, but we ended up finding a great donor through Cedar Hills Clinic. Anonymous, but the genetic profile was perfect. That's wonderful. I wanted you to know that even though you couldn't help us, I don't blame you. You tried, and that's what matters. I appreciate that, Emma. After I hung up, I added the recording of the conversation to the file Richard was building. Emma had just lied to me, on record, about the origin of her pregnancy. More ammunition. The months crawled by. I watched Emma's belly swell, watched her post weekly updates about the pregnancy, watched her bask in the attention and congratulations. I went to her baby shower, smiled, brought gifts, cooed over the tiny clothes and blankets. You're going to be such a great aunt, she said, hugging me. I can't wait to meet them. Meanwhile, Richard was working. He'd filed police reports about the identity theft and medical fraud. Cedar Hills Clinic was cooperating fully, terrified of the liability. They'd turned over all security footage, which clearly showed Emma checking in for the appointment using my name. We had documentation of the forged signatures, expert testimony that the handwriting didn't match mine, medical records proving I'd been at work the day of the supposed egg retrieval, and we had DNA evidence waiting in the wings. The moment those babies were born, we'd test them, prove they were genetically mine. The criminal case was building slowly. Emma had been questioned by police but hadn't been arrested. She denied everything, claimed it was a misunderstanding, said I must have consented and forgotten. But the lies were stacking up, and soon they'd come crashing down. Lily and Lucas were born on May 15th, 6 pounds each, perfect and healthy. I met them in the hospital, holding them while Emma recovered from the C-section. They had my nose, my eyes, my hands. They're beautiful, I whispered. They're perfect, Emma agreed, watching me from the bed. My perfect babies. Not for long. The DNA test results came back a week later. 99.99% probability that I was the biological mother of both children. Richard filed for emergency custody the same day. The legal argument was unprecedented. The children had been created through medical fraud and identity theft. While Emma had carried and birthed them, she had no biological connection to them. I was the genetic mother. The children were mine, stolen before they were even conceived. Emma fought back hard. Her lawyer argued that biology didn't matter, that pregnancy and birth established motherhood, that I'd never intended to be a parent to these children. She didn't even know they existed until recently, her lawyer thundered in court. She has no relationship with these infants. Emma has been their mother from the moment of conception. She carried them, birthed them, is nursing them. You can't just rip children away from the only mother they've known based on genetics alone. Richard countered, Emma Morrison committed medical fraud to steal my client's eggs and create children without consent. These children only exist because of a crime. Would we allow a kidnapper to keep a child just because they'd been raising them? Would we allow a thief to keep stolen property because they'd possessed it for months? The law is clear. You cannot benefit from your own criminal actions. The judge, a stern woman named Patricia Holloway, listened to both sides and then made a preliminary ruling. This is an extraordinary case with no clear precedent. I'm ordering temporary shared custody while we sort this out. The children will spend equal time with both Ms. Morrison and Ms. Morrison. She paused. This is going to get confusing. Ms. Emma Morrison and Ms. Claire Morrison. Your Honor, Richard interjected, given the ongoing criminal investigation into Emma Morrison's actions, we request supervised visitation only. Emma's lawyer shot to her feet. That's outrageous. My client has committed no crime. She's under investigation for identity theft and medical fraud, Richard said calmly. Both felonies. Judge Holloway considered. Supervised visitation for Emma Morrison until the criminal case is resolved. Claire Morrison will have primary custody in the interim. Emma's scream echoed through the courtroom. You can't do this. Those are my babies. Bailiff, the judge said calmly. As Emma was escorted out, still screaming, she locked eyes with me. The hatred there was pure and venomous. I'll destroy you, she mouthed. I smiled back. Taking care of newborn twins was harder than I'd expected. Even with the nanny, the court-ordered support payments helped me afford. Lily was colicky. Lucas didn't sleep. I was exhausted, overwhelmed, and happier than I'd ever been. These were my children. My babies. Emma's supervised visits were tense affairs. She'd hold the twins with tears streaming down her face, whispering to them that Mommy was going to bring them home soon. I watched through the two-way glass with the court-appointed supervisor, feeling nothing but cold satisfaction. The criminal trial came first. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage, forged documents, expert testimony, the clinic's admission that they'd failed to properly verify identity. Emma took the stand in her own defense. She claimed I'd given her permission to use my name, that I'd consented to the whole thing and then changed my mind out of jealousy. My sister has always been jealous of me, she said, dabbing at her eyes. She's prettier than me, smarter than me, and she couldn't stand that I was going to have children when she was still single. So she made up this whole story to steal my babies. Richard's cross-examination was surgical. Ms. Morrison, if your sister consented to this egg retrieval, why did you use a different clinic than the one you'd previously attended together? I got a recommendation from a friend. Cedar Hills Clinic has significantly lower standards and less oversight than Dr. Patel's clinic, don't they? I don't know. You don't know? Richard pulled out a document. Cedar Hills was cited by the state medical board 3 times in the past 5 years for improper documentation. Did you know that when you chose them? No. And why did you tell your sister the eggs came from an anonymous donor when they were actually hers? I didn't want her to feel obligated. You lied to her on multiple occasions about the biological origin of your children. Was trying to protect her. You were trying to deceive her. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. They came back with guilty verdicts on all counts: identity theft, medical fraud, and falsifying documents. Emma was sentenced to 3 years in prison, suspended to 18 months with probation. She was also ordered to pay restitution to both me and Cedar Hills Clinic. But, more importantly, the conviction bolstered our custody case. The custody trial was longer and more brutal. Emma's lawyer painted me as a vindictive sister, using the legal system to punish her for getting pregnant. My lawyer painted Emma as a criminal who'd stolen my genetic material to create designer children. We both had experts: psychologists, social workers, bonding specialists. The social worker assigned to evaluate both households delivered her report after 8 weeks. Both homes are suitable for child rearing, she testified. However, I have concerns about Emma Morrison's ability to be truthful with the children as they grow. When I asked her how she would explain their parentage to them, she insisted she would tell them they came from an anonymous egg donor. When I pointed out that this was a lie, she became defensive and angry. Emma's lawyer jumped in. She's protecting her children from a complicated truth. With all due respect, the social worker said, Children deserve to know their biological origins, especially in cases like this where one of the biological parents is actively involved in their lives. Ms. Emma Morrison's insistence on maintaining a false narrative suggests she prioritizes her own comfort over the children's emotional well-being. In contrast, the social worker said, "I'd been open about the situation in age-appropriate terms. I'd created photo albums showing the twins' biological origins. I'd prepared letters to give them when they were older, explaining everything." Ms. Claire Morrison understands that this situation is complex and potentially painful for everyone involved, the social worker said, but she's committed to honesty and transparency. That's what these children will need as they grow. The twins themselves were too young to express a preference, but the court-appointed child psychologist noted that they showed strong attachment behaviors toward me and anxious behaviors around Emma, particularly during supervised transitions. The children are bonding with Ms. Claire Morrison as their primary caregiver, the psychologist testified. While they recognize Emma Morrison, they show signs of stress during her visits. This could be due to several factors, including the supervised nature of the visits, but it's worth noting. Judge Holloway took 2 weeks to issue her final ruling. When we reconvened in court, Emma looked haggard. She'd lost weight, aged years and months. Her lawyer kept a hand on her arm, as if afraid she'd bolt. Judge Holloway surveyed the courtroom before speaking. "This case has required me to grapple with questions that have no easy answers. What makes someone a mother? Is it biology? Is it pregnancy and birth? Is it the day-to-day work of caregiving? Ideally, all of these would align in one person, but in this case, they don't. And we must decide what's in the best interests of these children. The law typically favors the gestational mother, the woman who carried and birthed the children. But this case is complicated by the criminal actions that led to the children's conception. Emma Morrison deliberately and illegally stole her sister's genetic material to create these children. She lied about their origins. She forged documents. She committed identity theft. These are not minor infractions. These are serious crimes that speak to a fundamental lack of honesty and respect for others' autonomy. Moreover, Emma Morrison has shown no remorse for her actions. In her testimony, she continued to justify her behavior, to paint herself as the victim, to insist that the ends justified the means. This troubles me deeply. Parenthood requires putting children's needs above your own. It requires honesty, even when it's difficult. It requires acknowledging mistakes and doing better. Emma Morrison has shown little evidence of these qualities. In contrast, Claire Morrison has approached this situation with remarkable maturity. She's bonded with the children. She's been honest about their origins. She's committed to ensuring they understand their complex family history as they grow. Therefore, I am awarding primary physical custody to Claire Morrison with supervised visitation for Emma Morrison. This decision will be reviewed in 1 year to assess whether unsupervised visitation is appropriate. I want to be clear. Emma Morrison is not being denied access to these children because she's not their biological mother. She's being limited in her access because she has demonstrated poor judgment, criminal behavior, and an ongoing pattern of deception that I believe could harm these children's emotional development. If she can demonstrate genuine remorse, commitment to honesty, and stable mental health over the coming year, we will revisit this arrangement. But for now, the children will remain primarily with Claire Morrison. The gavel came down. Emma sobbed into her hands. I closed my eyes and breathed. That was 2 years ago. The twins are 3 now. Lily is obsessed with dinosaurs. Lucas loves trains. They call me Mama and Emma Aunt Emma, which makes every supervised visit an exercise in tension. Emma sees them twice a month, always with a supervisor present. She brings gifts, plays with them, tries to convince them she's their real mommy. The court-ordered therapist shut that down after 6 months. "You're confusing the children," she told Emma. "Accept the role they've given you, or you'll lose even this." So now Emma plays aunt, though I see the pain in her eyes every time the twins run to me instead of her. Derek divorced her while she was on probation. He didn't want to be part of this mess anymore, didn't want to explain to future partners why he had biological children he had no custody of. Emma lives alone now in a small apartment. She lost her job after the conviction. She works retail, struggles to pay her bills. Sometimes I feel sorry for her, most times I don't. She stole from me, lied to me. tried to take something that was mine and raise it as hers while I remained oblivious. In my first life, she succeeded. But this time, I had the gift of knowing what she'd do before she did it. The gift of prevention. The gift of perfect revenge. My children know their story, or at least an age-appropriate version. They know that Aunt Emma wanted babies very badly and made some bad choices. They know their mama loves them more than anything. They know they're special. When they're older, I'll show them the documents, the court transcripts, everything. They'll know the whole truth, and they'll decide for themselves what relationship they want with the woman who tried to steal their existence. As for me, I wake up every morning to two beautiful children who have my eyes, my smile, my curiosity. I watch them grow. I answer their endless questions. I read them stories and wipe their tears and celebrate their victories. I am their mother, not because I carried them, but because I fought for them. Because I refused to let them be raised on a foundation of lies. In my first life, I jumped off a bridge, broken by what Emma had done to me. In this life, I stand on solid ground, my children in my arms, and I am whole. The revenge was sweet, but being their mother is sweeter. The phone rings on a Tuesday evening while I'm making dinner. The twins are in the living room, building a castle out of blocks. I check the caller ID and freeze. Emma. She's not supposed to call me outside of the scheduled visit coordination through the court app. Any violation could further restrict her access. I almost don't answer, but curiosity wins. Hello? Claire. Her voice is small, broken. I need to talk to you. You're not supposed to call me directly. I know, Please, 5 minutes. I glance at the twins. They're absorbed in their game, arguing about whether the castle needs a moat. Fine, 5 minutes. I'm sick. The words hang in the air. Sick how? Ovarian cancer, stage 3. They found it last month during a routine checkup. My stomach drops. Emma. They say with treatment I might have 5 years, maybe less, and Her voice breaks. I don't want to die without my children knowing who I am. They know you. You see them twice a month. As an aunt, as some stranger who brings presents. They don't know I carried them, that I felt them kick, that I sang to them before they were born. You should have thought about that before you stole my eggs. Silence. You're right, she finally says. You're absolutely right. What I did was unforgivable. I was jealous and selfish, and I convinced myself it was okay because I wanted it so badly. I told myself you'd never know, so what did it matter? That I'd give them a good life and that would be enough. But it wasn't enough. No, because they're not really mine. They were never mine. And some part of me always knew that, and it made me crazy. Made me desperate. Made me do terrible things to try to keep them. I lean against the counter, processing. What do you want from me, Emma? I want to tell them the truth. I want them to know that I carried them, even if I didn't have the right to. I want them to know that I loved them from before they existed. And she takes a shuddering breath. I want forgiveness, not from you, you don't owe me that. But from them, someday, when they're old enough to understand. They're 3 years old. I know, that's why I'm asking you to tell them when they're ready. Tell them I loved them, that I was sick in more ways than one, but that my love for them was real. That's all I want. And then I'll let go. I close my eyes. In my first life, Emma never apologized, never admitted wrongdoing. She died in a car accident when the twins were 7 and they barely remembered her. This Emma, humbled by illness and consequences, is someone I almost don't recognize. I'll think about it, I tell her. That's more than I deserve. Thank you, she hangs up. I stand in the kitchen, phone in hand, while my children play. Their children? Our children? The semantics matter less now than they used to. The doorbell rings. I'm not expecting anyone. When I open it, Derek stands on my porch. We need to talk, he says. I haven't seen Derek since the divorce. He'd cut ties with everyone involved in this mess, moved to another state, started over. Now he's back, and he looks older, worn down. "What are you doing here?" I ask. "Emma called me, told me about the cancer." "And?" "And I realized I never apologized to you." I blink. "For what?" "For my part in all of this." "I knew, Claire. Maybe not at the very beginning, but I figured it out. The twins looked so much like you, and Emma was so weird about it, and I—" He runs a hand through his hair. "I convinced myself it didn't matter, that they were ours in the ways that mattered. I let myself be complicit." "You didn't steal my eggs." "No, but I benefited from it. I was going to raise your children and never tell you. That makes me guilty too." I study him. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because Emma's dying and I don't want to carry this anymore. And because those kids deserve to know the whole truth, including my part in it." "They're 3. "I know, but someday they won't be." He pulls out an envelope. "I wrote this for them, for when they're old enough, my confession, my apology, my explanation of what happened and why. I wanted you to have it." I take the envelope, turn it over in my hands. "You know, in a weird way, I'm glad this all came out," Derek continues. "Not because I wanted to hurt Emma or you, but because lies like that, they rot everything. Our marriage was built on it, and it poisoned us. I look at those kids and I see you, and I feel sick about what we tried to do. Do you want to meet them?" He steps back like I've slapped him. "No, God, no. I gave up any right to that. I just wanted to give you the letter and to say I'm sorry for whatever that's worth." "It's worth something." He nods, turns to leave, stops. "Are they happy, the twins?" I think about Lily's belly laugh when Lucas makes faces at her, about Lucas's concentration when he's building with blocks, about how they both climb into my bed in the mornings and tell me about their dreams. "Yes," I say, they're happy." "Good, that's good." He walks away, shoulders hunched. I watch him go, then close the door and look at the envelope in my hands. That night, after the twins are asleep, I open Derek's letter. "Dear Lily and Lucas, my name is Derek Harrison and I'm your biological father. By the time you read this, you'll probably have a lot of questions about where you came from and why your family is the way it is. I want to try to answer some of those questions, even though the answers aren't pretty. Your Aunt Emma, who carried you and gave birth to you, was my wife. We wanted children desperately. When we learned about fertility issues, we made a choice that seemed reasonable at the time but was actually deeply wrong. We stole eggs from your mother, Claire, without her permission. We lied to her about what we were doing. We created you through deception and fraud. I could make excuses. I could tell you about how badly we wanted children, how the desperation drove us to unethical choices. But none of that justifies what we did. The truth is, we wanted you so badly that we didn't care who we hurt to get you. And that's inexcusable. Emma has her own letter to write to you, her own apologies to make. Mine is simple. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your existence began with a lie. I'm sorry that you've been caught in the middle of this mess. I'm sorry that I don't get to be your father, not because I don't want to be, but because I forfeited that right through my actions. Your mother, Claire, is a better person than both Emma and me. She fought for you. She took care of you. She's raising you with honesty and love. Listen to her. Trust her. She's the only one in this story who did the right thing. If you ever want to meet me, to ask questions, to understand my side of things, your mother has my contact information. I'll answer anything you want to know, but I don't expect it, and I won't ask for it. You deserve better than the circumstances that created you. I hope you found it. With love and regret, Derek. I fold the letter carefully and put it in the safe where I keep all the important documents. Someday, maybe when they're teenagers, I'll give it to them. For now, they're too young for such heavy truths. Emma dies 8 months later. The cancer moved faster than the doctors predicted. I take the twins to see her one last time in the hospice. She's barely recognizable, wasted away to nothing. But when she sees Lily and Lucas, her face lights up. "My babies," she whispers. Lily hides behind my leg. Lucas stares with wide eyes. Can I hold them? Emma asks me. I nod, help lift Lucas into the bed with her. Emma wraps one skeletal arm around him, tears streaming down her face. You're so big, she tells him. So beautiful. You're sick, Lucas observes with 3-year-old bluntness. Yes, very sick. Will you get better? No, honey, I won't. That's sad. It is sad. But I'm happy I got to see you one more time. She looks at me over his head. Thank you for bringing them. Lily ventures closer, curious despite her shyness. Emma reaches out with her other hand and Lily takes it. You gave me presents, Lily says. At Christmas? I did. Did you like them? The dinosaur was good. Lucas got a train. I remember. Emma's voice is fading. You two are the best things I ever made. Even if I made them wrong. The twins don't understand. They're too young. But someday they will. Emma looks at me again. The letter I wrote, it's with my lawyer. He'll send it to you after. Okay. And Claire? Thank you for being their mother, for being better at it than I would have been. I don't know what to say to that, so I just nod. We stay for an hour. The twins get restless, and I take them home. Emma dies that night. Her letter arrives a week later, along with a small life insurance payout directed to the twins' college fund. Emma had nothing else to leave them. I put the letter in the safe with Derek's, another piece of their complicated origin story. At the funeral, it's just me, the twins, and a handful of Emma's former co-workers. Derek doesn't come. Our parents died years ago. Emma had alienated everyone else. I hold a twin with each hand and watch them lower her into the ground. Why is Aunt Emma in a box? Lucas asks. Because she died, remember? Her body goes in the ground, but her spirit goes to heaven. Will we die too? Someday, when you're very old. But not for a long, long time. Good, Lily says decisively. I don't want to die. We leave flowers on the grave. Pink roses, Emma's favorite. I'm surprised to find I feel safe, not for the woman who stole from me, but for the sister I had before all of this. The Emma who braided my hair when we were kids, who defended me from bullies in middle school, who called me crying when her first boyfriend broke her heart. That Emma died long before the cancer got her. Maybe she died the day she decided her wants mattered more than my rights, but I'm still sad she's gone. 5 years later. The twins are 8 now, old enough for more truth. I sit them down on a Saturday morning, the letters from Emma and Derek on the table between us. You know, your story is a little different from other kids, I begin. Because Aunt Emma carried us, Lily says. She's heard this version before. Right, but there's more to it than that. And now that you're older, I think you're ready to hear the whole thing. I tell them about the egg theft, about the lies, about the court case. I keep it age appropriate, but I don't sugarcoat. They listen with wide eyes. So Aunt Emma stole from you? Lucas asks. Yes. That's bad. Stealing is bad. It is. But Aunt Emma was sick in her heart. She wanted children so much that she made very bad choices. Are we those bad choices? Lily's voice is small. I pull her into my lap. No, baby, you are not bad choices. You are perfect and wonderful, and I love you more than anything in the world. The bad choice was how you came to be. But you yourselves, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. But we're from stealing, Lucas says. We're stolen kids. You're my kids. Yes, you came from a complicated situation, but that doesn't define you. What defines you is who you are, who you choose to be. Did you love Aunt Emma? Lily asks. I did. Before all this happened, she was my sister and I loved her. And even after, it's complicated. I was very angry at her for a long time, but she's gone now, and mostly I'm just sad. Do we have to be sad too? You can feel however you feel. There's no wrong way to feel about this. I hand them the letters. These are from Aunt Emma and from Derek, your biological father. You don't have to read them now. You can wait until you're older, but they wanted you to have them. Lucas takes his letter carefully. Lily clutches hers. Can we think about it? Lily asks. Of course. They go to their room, letters in hand. I hear them talking in low voices, processing. An hour later, they come back. We want to read them, Lucas says. But we want you to read them with us. So I do. We sit on the couch, one twin on each side, and I read Emma's letter first. My dear Lily and Lucas, I don't know how old you'll be when you read this. I hope you're grown, wise enough to understand complicated things. But in case you're still young, I'll try to keep this simple. I made a terrible mistake. I wanted children so badly that I stole from your mother to create you. This was wrong. There's no excuse for it. No justification. It was selfish and cruel and criminal. But even though how you came to be was wrong, you are not wrong. You are perfect and precious, and I loved you from the moment I knew you existed. I got to carry you for 9 months. I felt you kick and tumble inside me. I sang to you, I talked to you, I dreamed about who you'd become. And then, because of my terrible choices, I lost you. This was justice. I deserved to lose you. But it broke my heart anyway. Your mother, Claire, is everything I'm not. She's honest and brave and good. She fought for you. She raised you. She loved you the right way. I hope you can forgive me someday. Not because I deserve it, but because carrying anger and resentment hurts you more than it hurts anyone else. I hope you have beautiful lives. I hope you're happy. I hope you never make the mistakes I made. I love you. I will always love you. Even though I lost the right to be your mother, that love is real. Emma Lily is crying. Lucas's jaw is tight. She did love us, Lily whispers. Yes, she did, but love without respect, without honesty, without boundaries, it's not enough. We read Derek's letter next, then we sit in silence. I don't know how to feel, Lucas finally says. That's okay, you don't have to know. I'm glad you're our mom, Lily says. Not Aunt Emma. Why? Because you tell us the truth, even when it's hard. Lucas nods. And because you chose to be our mom. Aunt Emma made us without asking, but you fought for us. That's different. I blink back tears. You two are pretty wise for 8-year-olds. That's because we're yours, Lily says matter-of-factly, but we get it from you. They keep the letters in their rooms. In special boxes they decorated themselves. Sometimes I catch them reading them, processing their complicated origin story. In therapy, because yes, we do family therapy to navigate all this, they talk about feeling special and sad at the same time. Special because they were worth fighting for, sad because the fight had to happen. The therapist assures me they're processing healthily, that they'll have questions as they grow, but that's normal. When they're 10, Lucas asks if he can meet Derek. Are you sure? I ask. I want to know him. He's my bio dad. That matters. So I arrange it. Derek flies in from Oregon, nervous and hopeful. They meet at a park. I stay close, but give them space. Derek brings photos of his family. He remarried, has 2 other kids now, half-siblings the twins didn't know about. Do they know about us? Lily asks. They do. And they want to meet you, too, if you're interested. The twins look at each other, having one of their twin conversations without words. Maybe someday, Lucas says. This is a lot right now. Derek nods. Whenever you're ready, or never, it's up to you. They talk for 2 hours. About Derek's job, he's an engineer. About his hobbies, woodworking. About why he did what he did. No good reason, just weakness and want. Do you wish you could be our dad? Lily asks. Derek's eyes get wet. Every day. But your mom is doing an amazing job, and I gave up the right to be more than this. This is okay, Lucas says. We can do this. They exchange emails. Derek promises to write, to answer questions. to be available however they need. As we drive home, Lucas says, "He seems nice." It's nice, he just made bad choices. Like Aunt Emma. Like Aunt Emma. But he said sorry, Lily points out, and he's trying to do better. He is. That's good. Everyone should try to do better. Out of the mouths of babes. Now, the twins are 13, poised on the edge of adolescence. They know their whole story. They've processed it in therapy, in conversations, in the quiet of their own minds. They have a relationship with Derek that's friendly but distant. They call him by his first name. They see him once or twice a year. They like their half-siblings. They're good kids. Honor roll students. Lucas plays soccer. Lily is in the robotics club. They have friends, hobbies, lives that extend beyond their complicated origins. Sometimes I catch them looking at me with those eyes, my eyes, and I remember the first life, the one where I never knew, the one where I jumped off a bridge, broken by betrayal. This life is so much better. Yes, it started with trauma, with theft and lies and legal battles, but it also started with me refusing to be a victim, with me fighting back, with me taking what was mine. "Mom," Lily calls from the kitchen, "can you help with my science project?" "Mom," Lucas yells from upstairs, "have you seen my soccer cleats?" I smile. This is my revenge, not the court case, not the custody victory, not Emma's downfall. My revenge is this: these two perfect humans calling me mom. These years of homework help and soccer games and science projects. This life we've built together on a foundation of truth. Emma wanted to steal my children and raise them as hers. Instead, I'm raising my children as mine. And they're thriving. That's the sweetest revenge of all. On what would have been Emma's 45th birthday, the twins ask if we can visit her grave. We haven't been since the funeral, but now, with the clarity of age and therapy, they want to pay respects. We drive to the cemetery on a Saturday morning. The twins bring flowers they picked themselves. At the grave, they stand quietly for a moment. "Hi, Aunt Emma," Lily says softly. "We're doing good. Mom's taking care of us." "We read your letter a lot," Lucas adds. "We forgive you. We decided that last year in therapy." I blink back tears. "We hope you're not sick anymore," Lily continues. "We hope you're happy wherever you are." They place the flowers on the headstone, stand for another moment in silence. Then Lily looks up at me. "Can we go now? I have robotics practice at 2. "Sure, honey." As we walk back to the car, Lucas slips his hand into mine. "Do you forgive her?" I think about it. Really think. "I think so," I say. "It took a long time, and I'll never forget what she did. But I'm not angry anymore. I'm just at peace." "That's good," he says. "Being angry all the time seems exhausting." It was. "We're lucky you fought for us," Lily says from my other side. "I'm lucky I got to fight for you." We drive home through afternoon sunshine, the twins chattering about school and friends and the weekend ahead. Normal life. Peaceful life. The life I died for in my first timeline. The life I fought for in this one and won.